It is 4:01. I will call to order this meeting. Please stand to sing O Canada. Please be seated. I'll ask the clerk for the roll call.
Mayor Sue Patterson,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Warren Dickert,
Present.
Councillor Harold Fleet has sent his regrets. Councillor Dave Hawking has also sent regrets. Councillor Carol Hudson.
Present.
Councillor Brandon Cable.
Present.
Councillor Susan Sackle.
Present. Thank you. The land acknowledgement. As we work toward reconciliation with Indigenous people, we begin our meeting today by respectfully acknowledging that we are situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, and further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. So welcome to our regular council meeting for Monday, April 20th, 2026. Good afternoon, council, staff, guests, the viewing public, and the media. Council, does anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest or a conflict of interest? Seeing none and none online, as always, if one should arise, you may declare it then. We do not have any agenda additions or deletions, so we'll move right into our delegations, and we have two this afternoon. And our first delegation is from Earth Power, and we have Chris White, and he is the president and CEO of Earth Power, and we have Wally Malcolm from Westerio. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council, for the opportunity to present Earth Corporation to the shareholders of Westerio Power. It's my pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of Earth Corporation, Chris White.
Thank you, Your Worship, and members of Council, and thank you for the pleasure of allowing us to present today. I'll try and be as quick as possible, but bear with me. But we do have a little bit of an agenda there. If we can, I don't know how you want me to cue you for the slides. You just want me to kind of flip my page. You'll see my page flip, or do I gotta? Okay, next slide then, please. We do have a little bit of an agenda today. So we're going to talk a little bit about Earth Corporation, who we are, what we're doing in our current communities, and our vision for the future. We're going to be talking a little bit about our regulated utility, which is very similar to your Westerio Power. That's Earth Power Corporation, and then our affiliate businesses that provide a lot of services to the electricity industry at large and municipalities across the province of Ontario, and some things that we do globally. So next slide, please. So we knew we were on the right track with this venture with Westerio very early on. A few weeks ago, we had a Ontario Electrical Utility Hockey Tournament. to which some of the West Ontario staff joined our team, and this was the first year that we won, and that was the A Division champs. So we know we got a winning team here, so we're pretty pleased with that. Next slide. So just a little bit about Earth Corporation, very similar to West Ontario Power. We were formed back in 2000 when the market deregulated. Originally, we were 7 shareholders, founding shareholders. Later joined us was West Perth and Clinton back in 2008. And later on, we had Goderich join us in 2019. A little bit of a difference for us. We're 100% municipally owned. West Ontario is 90% municipally owned, and then 10% equity ownership through Fortis. We don't have any other equity owners. We're 100% municipally owned. Got offices in Elmer, Goderich, Ingersoll, and Thorndale. And our competitive businesses have grown over the years from 0 revenue to over $25 million in revenue. And we service over 200 B2B customers across the globe. Next slide, please. So just our corporate org chart. It's a little bit different here because we got a holdco, and then we got our power co on the left, and then our affiliate businesses on the right. So the shareholder ownership currently for Earth Corporation, we have 9 shareholders. They own equity in both the regulated utility as well as the non-regulated businesses. So a little bit different structure there for us. Next slide. The holdco board has representatives from all 9 shareholders. This is a skill-based board, so it's made up. We only have 2 members of council on our board. The rest are more business community folks that the municipalities have selected, and the list there is before you. We'll flip to the next slide. Our vision, mission, and values and strategic objectives. I'll focus mainly on the mission statement there because I think that best represents what we're trying to do, and that's to be a community partner committed to delivering safe, reliable electricity while providing innovative, high-quality services and solutions to our customers. Our values, obviously, safety first, being in the industry that we're in, customer focus, excellence, innovation, sustainability, and committed. So the thing to note that I would note here just on our mission statement, I mean, obviously West Ontario is diluting themselves, selling their position, but that does not change the way we treat you as a community partner within our organization. So shareholder, no shareholder, it does not matter. We treat you one and the same. And if you have any doubt with that, you can always talk to Central Huron because they're no longer a shareholder of Earth Corporation, and I think we spend more in that community than we spend in any others. But anyway, we've been doing a lot of work there. Next slide there is just a little bit of a refresh brand that we went through in 2025. If you're familiar with Earth Corporation, we had 4 blocks underneath Earth, then Corporation underneath the blocks. Lots of reasons why we did that is primarily to modernize the brand, refresh it, but also the old logo was very square, took up a lot of real estate on mobile apps. So this way it's a little more streamlined and fits the mobile application world much better these days. And you'll see how that shows up in our newsletters and promotional material and our vehicles and so forth. When you go to the next slide there, we're very committed to sustainability. We are, I think, 19% of our fleet vehicles are either fully electric or electric hybrids. So we keep every year reinvesting into technologies that are more sustainable. And you can see that today with the 2 vehicles that Wally and myself drive, both electric, fully electric. Love the technology, love to promote the technology. Moving on to the next slide here, I'll talk primarily about the regulated utility. So this should be very, very familiar with you folks. It's very similar to West Ontario Power. So we're talking about Earth Power Corporation. We do have a separate board for Earth Power Corporation, meets the affiliate relationship code with the independence test. Those are primarily business folks that come from the industry. And if we go to the next slide, the representation of that makeup of that board, Gunners Chexter, former CEO of Hydro Mississauga or EnerSource, which later became part of the Electra family, but he was the CEO there. Scott Stahl was with Aird Burles, a regulatory law firm from Toronto. Sarah Simmons is from Power Advisory LLP. So she's very familiar with our industry and involved heavily in the sector. David Affelbach, our deputy mayor here, shared with me the relationship there with Enbridge or Union. Comes from the gas sector. As you recall, as part of the transaction with Earth acquiring the shares of Westario, through that deal, we'll be working with the shareholder representatives to appoint a director that will sit on this board going forward. And it'll be somebody local from the community with independence and bring the skill sets that we'd like to see at that board level. Similar thing happening there below. A little premature on this, but I will be able to share hopefully after tomorrow night. We've been working on a merger with the town of Tillsonburg, so they could become the 10th shareholder. Decision will be made tomorrow night. Through that deal, they'll get a board representation at the corporate level. They'll get a independent representative at the power board, and also a transitionary representative for a 3-year term. So that's just an interim thing to see the transition through with if Tillsonburg goes forward with merging with us. So next slide, please. So just currently, this is our utility today with the 9 shareholders, the 15 communities across 4 counties, serving 25,000 customers, 41 employees. We have corporate services folks also that support the utility. That includes myself, the executive team, HR, finance, IT. So an additional 15 employees that support the utility proper. And we're allocated to the utility. So we're not 100% allocated to the utility. We're split between the utility as well as our competitive businesses. 67 square kilometers of service territory, or 64. You got 457 square kilometers of distribution line and 28 fleet vehicles, very similar to Westario. If you look at our geography on our next slide, should look very familiar. It's eerily familiar to me, quite frankly. 15 communities across 4 counties, from the shores of Lake Erie down in Port Stanley to the shores of Lake Huron in the town of Goderich. And when you drive through our communities, it's like a mirror image of the Westario communities, I swear. We have some that are a little larger than others, but they all have their unique characteristics and their small town charm of the rural communities that we service. And they're very special to all of us, near and dear to our hearts. I'm a small town boy, so I can appreciate them. And I appreciate many of your communities as I drive up through them to go to my cottage, the family cottage up in the Lions Head area in the Bruce Peninsula. So I get to see Hanover. I go through it all summer long. So flip to the next slide. Just illustrates our commitment to our customer experience, enhancing that customer experience. We've built a lot of technology on the back end to support our customers with different web apps, web portals, outage maps, and our bill presentment. We continue to evolve in that space. A lot of the technology that we use for our utility has been developed by our competitive side of our businesses, and we've taken that to market, and many utilities across the province of Ontario are using them. Next slide. Just an example of our communications, so I encourage you to follow us through the socials. That'll give you an up-to-date feeling of what's going on, whether it's tree trimming, whether it's power outages and so forth, but that's how we partially communicate to our shareholder communities and our customers. But we've got many other ways of communications as well: shareholder newsletters, direct communications, mail-outs to our customers, and so forth. So we do pride ourselves in communicating well with our shareholders and our shareholder communities. Next slide. This is just representation. We're working on this building as we speak. 387 Thomas Street. This is a 57,000 square foot facility, new facility for our utility operations located in Ingersoll. We are moving in kind of as we speak. The furniture is being assembled, and we hope to be in there mid-May, fully operational. This building is a reflection of our commitment to sustainability. It has zero connection to the gas network, Sora Union. So it's got a geothermal field, 2-acre geothermal field that covers approximately 2 acres of land in the rear of the yard. It's a horizontal field. that keeps our temperature at 21 degrees C, and that's augmented in the summertime with cooling heat pump technology that cools and heat pump technology that warms it. That electricity usage through the heat pump technology is and the energy that's used in that building is offset by 500 kilowatts of solar on the roof, which offsets our energy consumption by approximately 80%. It's got a state-of-the-art control room in it. This building is not EV ready, it's actually EV enacted. So there's 14 charging stations out front for the public and staff. There's 20 charging inside the fleet garage, as well as additional charging for the bucket trucks, the hybrid bucket trucks. And there's another 4 charging units in the rear yard behind the fence. So we're ready to electrify our fleet to the degree that we can. And then the next slide there just again illustrates the technology within the building. It's a very high efficient building. The solar, the EV charging network that's encompassed with that building. Flip to the next slide, just a little bit about our capital investment strategy. Go to the next slide. We use a tool that a big utility down in the States, TXU, that's the Texas utility down there, introduced to us several years ago, and we earned the rights or bought the rights, I guess, for the OnCore solution here in Ontario. It's called the Optimizer. So we have a project library of approximately 10 years worth of projects in that library. And every year we optimize that library. If you flip to the next slide, when we go through that process, we look at about 3 years worth of projects. We look at that portfolio and we optimize to a budget spend of roughly $5-6 million currently for our budget spend. And you'll see there we tend to pick up the high risk and high value projects within that portfolio. And those are the projects that make part of our capital plan each year. And that's just illustrated on the next slide with the project library, the ones that get deferred and the ones that get optimized. And that becomes part of our budget for the year. As we go on to the next slide, big focus on automation across our service territory. That'll be something that we'll be focused on up here in West Ontario as well, is just adding this technology to the grid. Some of these devices are actually self-healing devices. So if you get a fault on the system, there's 2 circuits supplies. We can isolate this faulted side, switch it, and regain power to the customer base based on where these switches have been set up. In Ingersoll, we actually have got them configured in a manner where the industrial park gets picked up. We don't even have to push a button. So if there's a fault here, it opens this switch, closes this one, and closes the other one, and restores power to our industrial park. So this is something that takes time, lots of investment, but we're rolling out these technologies as we speak. And we just received funding from NRCan through the SHREP funding of $1 million towards these devices to roll out in the future. So that'll kind of double our rollout over the next 5 years. Next slide just shows more technology. That's just our AVL system or GPS system. So we've got that on all our fleet vehicles. Most important thing with that is knowing where our staff are, especially in the middle of the night, storms. Got non-contiguous service territories, as you can appreciate. Lots of miles get put on those trucks, so we want to know where our staff are. And no, we don't use it as a spying tool unless it becomes something that we're aware of and we need to look and investigate things. But quite often we've used it as a tool to support our staff because, you know, something will drop off the back of a truck and somebody will call and complain about something. We look at our records and say, well, it wasn't us. It might have been our friendly Hydro One or somebody else for that matter. But it does validate whether it was off of one of our vehicles or not. So that's another important usage for the tool. When we look at our next slide here, I'm just going to talk a little bit about our competitive side of our business, just to highlight what we're doing in that space. There is another, so I talked about our staffing complement, 41 for the utility, another 15 through corporate services, but we got about another 90 employees that work on our competitive side of our business. That started with 0 employees, 0 revenue. It's now 90 employees and $25 million in revenue, and it's contributing equally to the level that the utility is as it relates to this year in terms of returns and net income to the bottom line. So we're very, very pleased with how that's grown over the years. The next slide, I'll talk a little bit about our infrastructure group. So this is kind of the blue collar group for our competitive side. Obviously, we got linemen, metermen, design techs on the utility side, but we've got that on our affiliate side as well. We do everything from LED, streetlight conversion, traffic light, pole line construction, high voltage substation maintenance, EV infrastructure, electrical contracting, meter accreditation. We've got the largest meter accredited shop in the province of Ontario. We calibrate, test, and seal 60% of the meters population here in the province of Ontario. So we're doing that for a lot of utilities across Ontario. When you look at the next slide there, that one slide on the picture on the left should look very familiar to you folks. That's here in Hanover, right at the corner of Highway 10 and Main Street there. We did that traffic intersection back, I think it was, I don't know, it feels like yesterday, but it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. Obviously, the apartment building there, the complex is now fully serviced and renting, I'm assuming. But I see that people are moving in as we speak. So we've done a lot of work up in the area, traffic light work, but we've also done LED streetlight conversion for a number of the West Ontario shareholders across the north. So we did over 60 communities across Ontario back in the LED days when everybody was converting their streetlights. Meter services, again, just highlight that we're probably the largest meter shop in the province of Ontario, and we're calibrating and sealing 60% of the meter population here in the province. When you talk about the next slide I'm going to talk about our white collar. This is the solutions and technology group. I was showing you some signs of the slides there of some of the technology that we've developed for our utility, but we also offer that up to utilities across the province. Everything from CIS implementations and hosting to back office services, project management, robotic process automation, cloud hosting, the EBT hub and spoke, which settles the energy markets in the province of Ontario. Back when we had retailers actively involved, we don't have that much anymore. But we did acquire the system that did that transaction for utilities here in Ontario. We developed our own green button solution. We've got our new product called Engage 360, which is a web portal. Happy to show you that someday for your water billing customers if you're so inclined. We do a lot of water billing work for municipalities across the province as well. So another solution that we offer to the municipal world. And then Quadra is the one product that we actually have built in-house, and it's a work estimating, work management system, number of utilities using it in Ontario, but that's the product that's gone more globally, down into the States, down into the Caribbean, and over into New Zealand. So we've gotten into other verticals outside of the utility sector, and that's primarily the HVAC sector. So they're using that software solution for their businesses. The next slide is just example of some of the stuff that we're doing. These are utility clients in Ontario that attend our training sessions at our offices. We got Earth Academy and Earth Connects events. So we're known as the Harris North Star experts, I guess, here in the province of Ontario. And that product is used by a number of small and mid-sized utilities. And they come to our offices to learn more, and we educate them and put on different conferences each year. And then obviously with our green button success, we had the minister down there a few years ago, Todd Smith, who you may be familiar with. He's no longer the minister, but he's moved on from that portfolio. And now we got Stephen Lecce. So just looking at the next slide here, this is just a representation of North America and our customers. We do business with almost every utility in the province of Ontario with the exception of one, and we did not get that contract. I mentioned that at one of my presentations. That was with Toronto Hydro. So they're the only utility we do not do work for. But we almost won their metering work this year, so we'll get it the next time. We'll flip to the next slide. Again, a little bit more about our climate action plan. We do have an active ESG committee within our organization working on new ways to clean up our workplace. We do believe in leaving the world in a better place than what we left, what we once started with. So again, that's why we invest in these technologies, because we do put our money where our mouth is, and I firmly believe in that. I mean, much like many of you folks, we go to the Tim Hortons, we sit there in the wintertime and we're breathing in the big exhaust fumes of all that stuff. So if we can do our little part, we try our best. On the left-hand side shows our solar installations. We've got about a mega and a half of solar installation with our new building. And then on the right-hand side is our EV infrastructure that we got connecting our communities from Port Stanley to Goderich. So we engineered, we procured, and we installed, and we own and maintain that infrastructure today. And we're the proud recipient of Canada's Top Clean 50 list back a couple of years ago. So next slide, just why partner? Again, we're committed to being a partner, a community partner. You know, for us, the partnership means, you know, lower risk profile for our shareholders, economies of scale to help mitigate future risks, modernization and automation, having more expertise on hand to deliver some of those technologies out into the field. Certainly helps with small utilities. We definitely struggle to do that, but as we become a larger organization, we'll be able to expedite some of that, those technologies through in-house capabilities. And I truly believe this is an excellent partnership. Westerio chose a good partner, I believe. I think we're both very, very similar when you look at our geography and the communities that we serve and our staffing complements. This is not a large organization acquiring a small organization. This is two equals coming together, which I believe will create new opportunities for our staff, because we'll start to become a bigger organization, start to create some redundancies and layers into the organization, which creates job opportunities. So we're very proud of that. And the hockey representation illustrates the winning team that we have put together. When you look at the next slide, I think this is very, very impressive. It's a regional utility. I think you hear that from the province. This is what they're expecting, but it's pretty impressive. 31 communities, if Tillsonburg's in that list. You can see them highlighted down to the bottom and where they fit in. We're hoping that they will join this team. Know that tomorrow night, but that's 31 communities across 7 counties. It's a pretty impressive picture, I think, when you look at that. So this makes very much good business sense, because we're like-minded organizations coming together. And when you look at the next slide, we're just committed. Again, just because you're not a shareholder does not mean we're not committed to the communities, does not mean we don't want to be involved. We do want to be involved. So I'm not a good golfer, but I'm happy to take you up on an invitation to any of your chamber events. Whatever. The next slide shows our giving back to our communities. Last year, I think we gave back close to $200,000, whether it was donations, gift in kind, sponsorships throughout our various communities. So we're very, very proud of that. And then the last slide before we go into questions is really our driver for success. So when you look at the principles around this circle here, this is what success means to us. This is a reference for us to keep looking back on and reminding ourselves this is why we did this. So I encourage you to look at that. It's on our website. And the next slide, we believe the future is very bright. We're excited to be a partner with the Westerio communities to the north. I think you can see through the geography, we're very, very similar, and we're very, very proud to be part of your communities going forward. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you have, any for me.
Thank you, Chris. Are there comments or questions? Deputy Mayor Dickert?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Chris, for the presentation. It all sounds pretty familiar from my past and the way things are going, but I think, as you said, it looks like Westerio is in good hands. You have a good, bright future there. Will there be any residential type offerings from your competitive business? It looks like it's mostly municipal and commercial type things. Will there be any residential offerings?
Currently, we really don't have a lot of residential offerings. Most of it's commercial, industrial, municipal type of offerings. But as we grow our business, I think that where we do offer things is what we're doing in terms of the technology that we're providing to our residential customers. So more insight into real-time information about their bills and so forth. But we don't really have any residential type offerings short of to the developer community that are installing subdivision installations and so forth. So we do that for a number of developers across our service territory. I know the utilities typically contract that out, but our contracting arm actually does that service for them. So it does make that process easier for them.
Yeah, thank you. And the other, just wanted to let you know, we were actually one step ahead of you. We do have a net zero fire hall here in town. So
Excellent.
we actually got ahead of you on that one. So.
Awesome. Perfect. Love to hear it. That's good.
Okay, Councillor Hudson, then I'm going to go to Councillor Cable online. So Councillor Hudson?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just wondering, Chris, if you can tell me, will the same hours of use day rates still apply that our people are enjoying now?
Yes.
Very similar structure?
Yeah, the time use rates that are currently out there, they're provincially mandated.
Mhm.
What's different is our distribution rates, but they're relatively the same. With this proposal that we have on the table, there should not be we're not going to be going back to the OEB for rate increases other than our annual IRM increases each year, which are typically just inflationary mechanisms. So we're not rebasing the rates. Earth Power is actually doing their rate application next year. We're filing next year for Jan 1, 2028 rates. The way we're handling that and the way you're being isolated from that is we're doing a two-step approach with this merger. We're acquiring the shares. Westerio will stand alone on its license for about 2 or 3 years. After Earth rebases its rates, so our customers get caught up to what they should be paying, and the new building gets into the rate structure, that'll impact their rates somewhat, but it will not impact the Westerio rates. But in 2034, that's when we will harmonize our rates. And a lot changes over that time frame. They could go up, they could go down, depending on the efficiencies of the organization and the level of capital spend and operating costs at that point in time. But the risk for your customers will be minimized.
Okay, Councillor Cable?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Chris. I think my question's in a similar vein to Councillor Hudson's, when I'm sure residents are curious about some of the impacts the sale of Westerio to Earth will have. And so, Chris, you talked about the rate freeze. Can you also clarify what's happening with the Westerio office in Walkerton?
Yes, absolutely. So the Westerio office will stay there. Quite frankly, when you look at the geography, I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's never any guarantees in life, but there is definitely a 10-year commitment. But the staff that are operating out of there today will be the staff that are operating out of there tomorrow. So they'll just have the oversight of the executive team and all our back office support that I think they've struggled a little bit in the past with over the years until Wally came into play. But the staff that are looking after the poles, wires, transformers, all that stuff, they're going to stay there. We actually view Westerio as an opportunity for staffing and able to draw upon a new market for attraction of news talent down the road. So we've got a much bigger pool to draw from, another 15 communities. So if we can hire the best, and if the best happen to be up here, I have no problem with them working out of the Westerio office. So.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, good. Any other comments, questions? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Just one more. When you talk about your rates, are they a cost of service based rate or what are they?
Service-based rate, yes. And we'll be rebasing, like I said, we'll be filing next year for 2028 rates. The building that I showed up on the slide, that capital expenditure will be making its way into the rate base. We're currently receiving revenue through what we did as called an ICM, an incremental capital module that we filed with the OEB back 2 years ago. We're receiving that revenue currently from our customers through a rate rider. It's sitting on the balance sheet. It doesn't flow through our P&L until it gets recognized as revenue in our revenue requirement when we do the rebasing. So, but it's already been recognized and approved by the OEB, so it won't have a problem of actually making it into our revenue requirement.
Okay, I think that's it for questions. I just want to say thank you very much for sharing more information about Earth, and we appreciate your commitment to continuing this strong service in our community. So thank you very much, and thank you, Wally.
And with that, I will leave a few cards here for you folks. That way, if you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out at any point in time.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our second delegation is Carolyn Cascanet. She is the CEO of the Hanover Public Library. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council and Your Worship. I'm here to present the Space Needs Report completed this past summer by the Hanover Public Library. As we look to the future of Hanover, it's essential to recognize how vital the library is to our growing, diverse, and engaged community. The Library Board is here today to request your partnership on something that will benefit Hanover for the next 25+ years, a collaborative exploration of our library's facilities future. We're not asking for a budget commitment today. We're asking for your support to plan thoughtfully together. The completed Space Needs Report has made it clear our current library building cannot meet the needs of Hanover, not today, and certainly not as we continue to grow. The report shows that our library is significantly undersized, lacks adequate space for staff, programming, and collections, and it does not fully meet accessibility standards. Simply put, if we want to keep delivering the services that matter to so many, we cannot remain where we are. A renovation would help us at this time, but would not get us to the space that would align us with provincial standards. The report shows a renovation budget of $10 million, and the Library Board reached the conclusion, supported by the report, that it may be time to look for another location, as $10 million could potentially get a library that would meet the provincial requirements if it was in a new location. However, looking at the report and knowing that location is hard to get in Hanover, and knowing that the municipal building also needs more space, option A on page 101 to 104 in the council package, combined with a municipal build, might be an option worth considering. Moving the library out of the Carnegie building would be a loss. As much as we need change, we admit there isn't another suitable space available at this time. So what do? We have to look ahead and we have to work together. Our current library facility was built in an era when libraries were primarily about book circulation. Today, libraries are community hubs, places where families access the internet, where job seekers get employment support, where kids develop early literacy skills, and where neighbors gather, which means our building was designed for yesterday's library. Our community needs the library of today. The Carnegie Library was built in the 1900s, and with the renovation in the 90s, the library moved to the basement. We've been in this space for close to 40 years. The report done in 2015 showed that we were too small at that time, and with more expectations coming down on libraries, this has only increased. Modern libraries are designed to be vibrant community hubs with flexible, technology-rich environments that can accommodate a variety of activities beyond your collection, including community events, informal socialization, and digital learning. Hanover's current space is unable to meet these evolving expectations and standards, highlighting a substantial shortfall and the urgent need for expansion or a new library facility. Looking at the current Town of Hanover strategic plan under safe and reliable infrastructure, the town's aim is to maintain and continuously improve municipally owned properties and also explore options for costs of an upgraded library. This, along with the solidification of the library being named the Newcomer Resource Center and it being the official town tourist information desk, it would be prudent to consider what the first place people coming to the town see as they enter. Collectively, we should want it to be as revitalized and refreshed as all other aspects of the town. Exploring a new library is in both of our strategic plans and has been talked about in this room several times recently. Now is the time to move forward to invest not just in an upgraded library, but in the future of the community. Together, we can build something that serves Hanover for decades to come. The library board does want to note the question that has been raised about serving a population of 15,000 people, which is what is in the report. This was a number calculated by the consultants based on the potential growth of the area. They did not give me the formula they used. However, from the data I can collect, the prediction for Hanover's population is to grow to approximately 12,000. And the library does serve the surrounding area, as we are the town that the people come to work, play, and do their shopping. Currently, we have 384 non-resident cards, which is about 4% of the population and 12% of our library card holders. We also have statistics that show our programs bring in 50 to 70% non-card holders, especially for our clean and green programs. So 4% of a projected 11,870, which was in the report, would be serving a population of 12,416. Other things to consider are people just come to use the library without taking the books or attending the programs. It's also important that we look at building a library that will be sufficient for the future, as we would expect to be there for quite some time. I'd spoken with the consultants when the report was being completed, and a recommendation 10 years ago was to remove the non-resident fee. And since we didn't do that, I had asked them to reduce the projected population, and they arrived at 15,000. So moving forward, I ask you to imagine Hanover's future, a place where children discover their love of reading, seniors connect over coffee and conversation, new residents find resources and friends, and everyone has access to technology, learning, and space. The library board is asking that council seek a library investigation committee to explore the potential for a new library with representatives from the library board, town council, and appropriate town staff, and that the library be added to the capital 10-year plan for Hanover. The idea to explore an expanded library with a renovation in the Civic Center, land purchase for a new build, or land purchase for a renovation. Without council and town staff support, the new library will not move forward. We've had these conversations around the library board table, but the town and the library are tied together, so planning should be happening at both tables. The key point, without a facility plan, we can't compete for grant funding and we can't plan a fundraising committee. Provincial and federal infrastructure programs prioritize municipalities with strategic documents and strategic capital plans. To move forward, we need council and town staff support, as the library is run out of the municipal building and requires significant partnership and funding from the municipality. Investing in a modern library is an investment in Hanover's future economic and social vibrancy. It supports tourism, attracts families and businesses, and helps build a connected, resilient community. Studies show that every dollar spent on library infrastructure yields significant returns in community well-being and educational outcomes. The town is currently undertaking a downtown plan, and I've had discussions with the downtown planner as well and shared the reports that having a library in your downtown increases foot traffic and enhances the economic vitality of the town's core. Libraries matter. Communities across Ontario are investing in modern library facilities because they're essential infrastructure, like your recreation centers, fire stations, police stations, and community facilities. I'm presenting you with the chance to thoughtfully, collaboratively, with council and staff partnership to plan the future of the Hanover Public Library. The request in your council package is to direct town staff to provide a follow-up report with respect to the proposed creation of a library investigation committee to explore the options for a new or renovated library space. This is an investment in Hanover's future, our young families, our seniors, our economic development, our community health. Thank you for your support and vision as we take these next steps. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Carolyn. And just before I open up for discussion, I want to acknowledge that we do have the library board chair, Brenda Booth, in attendance, and the vice chair, Jeanette Wilkin in attendance. Welcome. Questions, comments? Councillor Sackle.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Carolyn, for your report.
Well, it's a long time coming. I remember the 2015 Space Needs Study very well. In fact, I never threw it away. I still have my copy of it with all my sticky notes and everything. And I remember being so excited at the time, like, oh, this is going to happen and this is wonderful. And I'm so glad to see this moving forward. And as we know, 11 years later, nothing has happened. We had a fire hall that needed to be built. We have a police service station that needs to be built. Well, now it's time for a library, and I sure hope that we can do something about it this time. I also want to comment on the statement you made about our library not being accredited. I wonder if you could explain that for the listening public, please.
Libraries go through tests, which is just a group of library CEOs to make these services equal across the province. So they're updating their accreditation right now, but it's to look at things like, are your shelves accessible? Shelves are supposed to be about chest height so you can see everything. Our shelves are way up here. It's just trying to get libraries to be equal across the board.
Through your worship, thank you. I'd also like to comment on the fact that Hanover is a standalone library. And I'm not sure everybody understands that. It's not a branch library. That means you have to have qualified people in a variety of areas, and you need space to do that as well. So I think those are important things to keep in mind as we move forward. We are half the size we should be, and I'm not so sure that our current location is going to work. However, that's for the committee to see fit. And I'm going to let you know right now, I'd like to put my name on that list. Thank you.
Other comments, questions? Councillor Cable?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Carolyn, for the report. I really appreciate all the information that was provided in the Space Needs Study. I think it was interesting just to be able to compare different facets of the Hanover Public Library to the surrounding communities, and to see the amount that, the space that is inadequate, the contributions from the municipalities on a kind of a per capita basis. I appreciate you addressing the 15,000 population number, because that was certainly one that caught me off guard, and then looking at kind of the space requirements from there. If I'm understanding the report correctly, it looks like your current space is just over 4,000 square feet, and a new build would be somewhere in the 11,000 to 16-ish thousand square feet. So there certainly is a lot of space that you're looking for. And so I don't know if the committee is looking at options to repurpose the existing building back into a library and then building a new municipal office, or whether you're just looking at building a library in a different location.
I think I would like the committee to look at both to see which option is preferable. If we want to stay in this building, if the municipality wants a new building for their staff, and the library keeps the Carnegie, just all the options of what we could do to get an expanded library.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, Carolyn. I also want to thank you. Seems every event I go to, I see the library there. So you guys are doing a great job of getting out there and promoting your service. But so thank you for that. Earlier this year, Grey County brought together, the Joint Municipal Services Committee came together to look at whether going with a countywide library system would be beneficial. The result of that was no. It was better standalone as far as cost. But one of the things that did come up during that discussion was the per capita costs that we have. And right now, other than Blue Mountains, and in Blue Mountains, their library is a museum as well as an event space that they rent out. We are the highest per capita cost for our library right now. How, and it's significant, actually. It goes from a low of $30 per capita to ours, which is at 87. To put in a new building yet, wouldn't we be seeing ourselves significantly increasing that? And we talked about the 15,000 versus 8,000. Our neighboring communities all have libraries as well. So I guess I struggle with, when I see the level of spending that we're already at, how we can increase that when we also think about the items that Councillor Sackle just mentioned, the fire hall, the police station. If our boundary adjustments approved as we're hoping, we have a fairly big commitment there as well. So I'm just not sure of the timing of it. And I guess I'd just like to better understand how, when we're at the high end already per capita, how we can justify looking at this.
The reason we are at the high end is because of what Councillor Sackle said. Other libraries, they have their books processed outside their library. We have our book processed here. Everything that's in Hanover is done in Hanover, and the other libraries have a library headquarters where everything is done. That's why we need more space and more staff. So that's why we're at that price. And I agree it would go up when we have a larger library.
So if other libraries have, I guess I'm not understanding where these other libraries have that resource. When I look to West Grey runs their own, well, actually, they actually partner with somebody, I believe, but
yeah,
so
West Grey
they have a
has
central
typical
location that does this, and then, but they would still have that cost, would they not?
They would have their staffing cost, but they wouldn't have the space cost because it's done somewhere else in a much smaller location where all of ours is looked at as one big whole. That is why standalone libraries are more expensive, is because we have to do it all in-house. So West Grey has 3 branches. So if they were all doing it in-house, they'd have 3 catalogers, but they have 1 cataloger. And Hanover just has 1 library. We have 1 cataloger. West Grey has 3 libraries, but 1 cataloger that does all of them.
So would partnering with other people be a better option to look at?
I think that's what was proposed with the county library.
But they were looking at the entire county coming together, and that wasn't working because we do have some existing ones like West Grey that are partnered with people. So I'm just wondering if that's an option that should be considered here.
West Grey, Southgate, and Grey Highlands, have had conversations about partnering for things like technology, like purchasing our technology together. The thing is, Hanover's at a much higher offering than the other libraries are. So to get that, this is why it was turned down at county. To get everybody up to Hanover's level, it would cost the county a lot to pay out to get those other libraries up to our standard. And that's why the county one was passed on. Okay.
Okay, and I think we're getting in a little deeper, for a delegation. So I'm going to ask our CAO about next steps and process.
Well, thank you, Carolyn. The library board has made a request of council, and that it's included in the request section on page 44 of the agenda package, and that you direct town staff to provide a follow-up report. So if council approves this direction, then we as town staff would provide a follow-up report. And Carolyn's done some good research as a start with respect to providing a sample terms of reference. But we'll need to give some consideration to fine-tuning that. What is the timing of this? Carol and I have already had these conversations, to be honest, a little bit, is that we're in a bit of an odd time of year because of the municipal election. And does it make sense for this to happen now and establish a committee, or does it make sense for the next council to make those determinations? Now, that will be up to council to make that decision, but a follow-up staff report would be that next step.
Okay. Thanks for that. So, council, if you're in agreement, I need a mover and seconder to direct staff to come back with a follow-up report. Councillor Sackle, seconded by Councillor Cable. Any further questions, comments? I guess we'll see when the report comes back, then we'll have all the questions. So, all in favor? That is carried. Because we don't have anyone online. I was looking, so we have 3 in favor, 1 opposed. Yes. Okay. All right. So that is carried. Thank you, Carolyn. And thank you, ladies, for attending. Okay, we'll move on with the agenda. We have item 7, the council minutes. This is 7.1. We're on page 112 of the package. It is the regular council meeting minutes from April 7th. Can I get a mover and seconder before I just highlight a couple of items? Deputy Mayor and Councillor Cable. During that meeting, we had actually had 2 public meetings. The first one was we were rezoning the lands that were previously occupied by House Rules Design business to permit a carpentry shop and showroom, and that was carried. We passed a bylaw. We also had a public meeting to amend the building department 2026 rates and fees bylaw, and that was approved and carried. We had a delegation from Chairperson, Councillor Dave Hawking, and we had Steve Furness from the county and Luigi Presta from Think Compass, and that was discussing a concept for the Saugeen Municipal Airport development, and council supported it in principle. And I believe that is it for highlights. Yes. So if there's questions or comments, none, I will call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We do not have any business arising from the minutes, and we have the consent agenda. And I'll ask council if there are any items on the agenda that you wish to see discussed separately. Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to pull item 9.4, Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes, just to highlight the outcome of that meeting.
Okay. So then I need a mover and seconder for the consent agenda for those items that have been included. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Sacco, all in favor? That is carried. So item 9.4 is the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes from April 2nd. I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. Councillor Cable and Councillor Hudson. Councillor Cable, please go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Committee of Adjustment met on Thursday, April the 2nd. There was only one item that was discussed. It was regarding a minor variance at 269 6th Street A, which is close to the Lawn Bowling Club. The application was seeking relief regarding the maximum floor area in order to construct an additional dwelling unit on that property and a reduction in the required rear yard setback. It is a corner lot. We did have one written comment in advance expressing concern about privacy and requesting consideration of a privacy fence, and the applicant indicated that they were willing to install a privacy fence in order to address that concern. Staff also confirmed that the proposed development complied with applicable lot coverage provisions. That was one question from a resident who attended the meeting in person, virtually. And following good discussion about the application was granted.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. All right, 10.1 or 10, this is staff reports requiring action. 10.1, we're on page 254 of the package. This is report PB 0926. The subject is Recognize May as a Building Safety Month. It is from Andrew Wilkin, our Director of Building and Planning and CBO, and Jordan Whitmore is here who will highlight that when I get a mover and seconder. Councillor Hudson and Councillor Sacco. Please go ahead, Jordan.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. The building industry acknowledges the significance of Ontario Building Code and the invaluable contribution of building officials to raise awareness. The Building and Development Department is seeking a proclamation from Hanover Council to designate May as Building Safety Month. The safety message will be promoted on the town's social media platforms. The OBC has established the minimum requirements for designing and constructing new buildings as well as modifying existing structures in Ontario. The OBC serves as a reference for architects, engineers, and builders involved in constructing projects governed by its regulations. Ontario's building officials play a vital role in ensuring the safety and integrity of structures across the province. The town of Hanover acknowledges the invaluable contributions made by these professionals and the importance of adhering to the OBC. The town remains committed to supporting and recognizing the essential role of building officials in fostering secure and resilient communities. There are no financial implications for this report. And the link to the strategic plan is safe and reliable infrastructure, balanced growth, and open and responsible government. The recommendation that report PB 0926 be received and that council proclaim the month of May as Building Safety Month in the town of Hanover.
Thank you, Jordan. Any comments or questions? I just want to say recognizing May as the Building Safety Month is an important reminder of the work that keeps our homes and businesses safe. And thank you to all our building officials for ensuring the integrity of all our structures every day. So thank you. I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Jordan. Item 10.2, this is report FI 0226. The subject is update the bylaw to establish and regulate a fire department in the town of Hanover. It's from our fire chief and CEMC, Jeff Deniger. I need a mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Hudson. Chief?
Thank you, Your Worship. As indicated, this is report FI 0226. It's on page 260 of your package. The bylaw, which establishes and regulates a fire department for the town of Hanover, requires an annual review to ensure it's accurate and up to date. During this review, the town of Hanover risk assessment was utilized to understand potential risk areas within the municipality and services that have been put in place to reduce the risks identified. The results of this review determined the following changes be proposed for the inclusion in the fire department enabling bylaw. They are listed within the report to council. The link to these, there are no financial implications, and the link to the strategic plan is open and responsible government. Recommendations are that report FI 0226, update bylaw to establish and regulate a fire department in the town of Hanover, be received, and that council adopt bylaw 3392-26 to establish and regulate a fire department in the town of Hanover. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Chief. Councillor Cable.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. Chief, just wondering, what are your thoughts on I think the organization structure now says that there would be 18 or 19 firefighters, there'd be 1 or 2 drone pilots. And I don't know if we've ever seen that before. Usually it's kind of a fixed number. What is your thoughts on adjusting it to this range?
Through you, Your Worship. We presently have 1 drone pilot. I would like to find 2, but it's a skill that is going to take time to develop. So we wanted to create an opportunity to have a second one, that it didn't have to come back to council. So right now we have 1. If we lose a firefighter, but then we find a drone pilot, then we could fill that position, because having 2 would make sure they offset each other. But right now we only have 1. So it's just an opportunity for us to potentially expand that position without increasing our numbers, of course, and then not having to come back to council for you.
No, I think that helps. So essentially you could have 18 firefighters and 2 drone pilots, or you could have 19 firefighters and 1 drone pilot, but the total is going to be 20.
Through Your Worship, yes, the number will never increase past 35 total.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, 10.3 is report FI 0426. The subject is the capital project, the rescue pumper replacement update. And again, it's from our fire chief and CEMC, Chief Deniger. I need a mover and seconder to put this on the floor. Councillor Sackle and Councillor Cable. Chief?
Thank you, Your Worship. As indicated, this is report FI 0426 on page 299 of your package. In 2024, council approved the capital purchase of a new rescue pump apparatus. The new Freightliner commercial cab suppression rescue apparatus, named Rescue 911, will be a first response and critical frontline vehicle that will respond to all working fires, alarm calls, rescues, motor vehicle collisions, and more that HFD responds to. As part of the multi-year build process for the new rescue pumper apparatus, a total of 4 change orders have been required to date. These change orders reflect industry cost pressures, operational requirements, and identified during pre-construction and compliance with applicable safety and manufacturing standards. Change order 1 relates to an increase in the cost of the chassis. Change order 2 resulted from the pre-construction meeting attended by Deputy Fire Chief and Fire Chief. Change order 3 addressed required structural, lighting, and door modifications necessary for the apparatus build to meet applicable standard. Change order 4 covers specialized equipment that the fire department does not currently own but is required to make the new apparatus fully functional upon delivery. And the final cost is for decals and reflective striping to meet visibility and safety standards. As far as financial implications, council previously approved a total capital project budget of $917,837.85 for the rescue pumper replacement. Staff are seeking an additional $60,000 to complete the increased cost incurred to date, as well as further change orders that may impact costs prior to delivery. This will enable staff to proceed with the procurement of the rescue pumper, even with a potential lame duck period of council occurring immediately prior to the expected delivery. Due to an earlier delivery timeline and the updated project cost, external financing will now be pursued in the fourth quarter of 2026. Annual payments are expected to remain generally consistent with prior projections, as the additional costs are amortized over the approved 15-year loan term. Linked to the strategic plan is safe and reliable infrastructure, as well as open and responsible government. The recommendation is that report FI 0426 be received and that council approve an increase to the project budget of $60,000 to be financed through reserves until external financing is secured. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. Chief, change order 1 talks about the increase in the cost of the chassis of the vehicle. Once the contract is signed, I guess I just don't understand, why is the price of the chassis increasing? I get that maybe prices went above what they would typically see, but I just don't understand why the cost for that base piece would increase.
Through Your Worship, it's my understanding that there was new EPA regulations that required the motor to have significant changes that increased the cost significantly. There is a portion in the contract that indicated that the chassis was somewhat out of the control of the supplier, because they received the chassis from Freightliner. So if Freightliner increases the cost because of new standards, then we have to bear the cost of that. But it was mainly due to changes in the environmental regulations, which caused the motor to be significantly changed.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? My question was, how does this $60,000 affect our finances? And our CAO has a response.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I'll add that this response is provided by Yelena, our Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer. So basically, our original price of around that $920,000, the annual repayments would be $82,750,000, and we would pay $321,200 in interest over the 15-year term. If we take out a loan for another $60,000, so making that $980,000, the annual payments will be $88,140. So just slightly under that $5,500 amount. or about that 5,500, doing my math in my head, and will be paying 342,100 in interest over the term. She adds that the additional 60K in financing results in annual payments that are roughly 5,400, so I wasn't too far off, which we can accommodate. And we've assumed rates of 4% just as a math piece.
Thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, item 12.2, we're now on page 302 of the package. This is report FI 0526. The subject is the agreement between the Town of Hanover and the Owen Sound Police Service for the dispatch of the Hanover Fire Department. Again, it's from our Fire Chief and CEMC, Chief Jeff Deniger. I need a mover and seconder to put this on the floor. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Hudson. Chief?
Thank you again. The Hanover Fire Department relies on external emergency communication services for the dispatching of fire calls and related operational notifications. Dispatching services are currently provided under an agreement with the Owen Sound Police Service. In 2025, the Grey County Fire Chiefs Association established a communications committee comprised of 3 member chiefs. The Town of Hanover was represented on this committee. Negotiations between Grey County Chiefs Association Committee and the Owen Sound Police Service commenced in 2025, and discussions focused on ensuring that the fire dispatching service continued to meet the operational needs of paid on-call fire departments while also addressing affordability and service consistency across participating municipalities. Committee was able to achieve a reduced pricing structure compared to the town's existing dispatching agreement. In addition to cost savings, the parties reached agreement on several additional dispatch and communication-related services that are not currently included. The proposed agreement includes a defined pricing schedule that establishes annual dispatching costs through 2035, providing long-term cost certainty for the town. As part of the Communications Committee work, an analysis of 3 comparable fire dispatching service providers was completed. This review confirmed that pricing secured through negotiations was in line with or lower than comparable agencies offering similar levels of service. I will apologize that the table that is in the report is incorrect. There was a lot of back and forth. They provided me the wrong table in an email. The table in the contract itself is correct, which is much lower than the table in the report. The contract is established or is also included. The link to the strategic plan is safe and reliable infrastructure and open and responsible government. The recommendation is that report FI 0526 agreement between the Town of Hanover and Owen Sound Police Service for the dispatch of Hanover Fire Department be received, and that local or council authorized the clerk and CAO to execute the agreement between the 2 parties. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Chief. When I look at that for 10 years, basically, it's pretty reasonable and certainly gives us stability there. You know, the numbers I'm seeing in the contract are all below 4% from the looks of it. So I think it's a good deal and good work.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Item 11 is committees of council minutes. 11.1 is the Plus VG Architects meeting report on the Hanover Police Station. And I'll ask Councillor Hudson to highlight those.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Sorry, I need a mover and seconder. I saw the clerk sort of looking at Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. So Hanover Police Station Committee met on March the 31st. The design coordination continues with mechanical, plumbing, electrical, lighting, security, IT coordination, furniture and evidence storage, shelving, all being incorporated into the next design package. And the design development package will be issued once all of that is in place. The locker rooms were revised to increase the number of lockers because they're trying to build out for 40 years and anticipating that they will have more staff. Victim services offices were eliminated, but the design will make a provision to add in the future at the north end of the training room, being accessed from the vestibule. The outdoor unheated storage shed was reduced to 250 to 300 square feet with an 8-foot garage door, with the cost of this being carried separately in the next cost estimate. Option submissions to move the accessible parking space closer to the main entrance. If you had a look at any of these, it was on the southwest side, so a little bit further away from the entrance. Still considering a travel path for the police vehicles, accessibility directly from the street, et cetera. And also looking at the feasibility of locating the emergency generator on the lower roof as opposed to in the parking lot area. The screen wall also will be carried as an optional line item in the next cost estimate for future council consideration. And the town of Hanover requests that a Class B estimate be conducted as soon as possible, carrying costs for screen wall, exterior storage building, separate items, as I mentioned. And should council be in lame duck status after April 21st nomination deadline, provided the police station tender cost is within adopted budget amount, then there would not be implications with the lame duck status.
Are there questions, comments? Councillor Cable?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wondering if we can get some clarification on that. Is the approved adopted budget amount, is that referencing the $8 million figure that's in the 2026 budget package? Is that the amount that would be consider our adopted budget amount?
Through you, Mayor Sue. So this is always the challenge with these multi-year capital projects, to be honest. So currently, and I don't have that document in front of me, but it definitely showed the 2026 amount as well as the 2027 projected amount. And off the top of my head, I think we had about 400,000 for this year. And then I think about 8.4 million for next year, approximately, again, going by somewhat memory. So yes, would be my answer, in the sense that, council has committed to moving forward with this project. So those multi-year capital projects, it is somewhat anticipated that that would continue, realizing that it will show up in the 2027 budget as an item to be adopted as part of that as well.
So I guess just to clarify, because certainly if we're looking at having a tender result in July, that's about 3 months before the new council would take over. So I guess I'm surprised that the current council could commit, a future council of $10 million for a police station 3 months before the end of the term. Are we saying so the tender could be awarded and then in theory, the new council could swing to a different position and halt the project? Say that they want to do a renovation instead?
You're really testing me tonight, Councillor Cable. I would answer that in the sense that, there are always examples of council decisions, I should say, that commit future councils. Boundary adjustment's no different. There would be risk associated with the upcoming council of the next term to change that position if the tender has already been awarded, because there would be some significant cost implications accordingly with breaking a contract. That's how I would answer that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All right, all in favor of Plus VG Architects project meeting minutes? Receiving for information, of course. Thank you, that is carried. Item 12 is the bylaws. At this time, we have two bylaws. I need a mover and seconder before I ask the clerk to give the intent of the bylaws. Councillor Sacco and Councillor Hudson. Vicky, please.
Through your worship, bylaw number 3392-26 is a bylaw to establish and regulate a fire department in the town of Hanover. And bylaw number 3393-26 is a bylaw to authorize the execution of a fire dispatch agreement.
Thank you. So it's been moved by Councillor Sackles, seconded by Councillor Hudson, that bylaw numbers 3392-26 and 3393-26 be introduced and that they be taken as read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and inserted in the bylaw book. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item 13, we do not have any correspondence requiring action. So at this time, I'll ask if there's any notices of motion. Seeing none, we'll go on to item 15, good news and celebrations. Deputy Mayor Dicker.
Thank you, Your Worship, and just wanted to mention our spring cleanup on Wednesday night. And there was always a standing competition between Councillor Fleet and myself. So as Councillor Fleet can't be with us this Wednesday, we're going to do a little get together and do it under Team Fleet to recognize his past contributions and set a bar for him in the future that he'll have to try and meet. So I look forward to seeing lots of people out there on Wednesday night and doing a Team Fleet cleanup.
Good. Anyone else? Councillor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to thank Madison Bryan and the Hanover District Hospital Foundation Committee for all their hard work for Ladies' Night held on Thursday, April the 16th at the Carriage House. It was a terrific night with interesting guest speakers, wonderful appetizers, local vendors, a fashion show with White Dress Boutique and Vilene's, a silent auction, and an extensive raffle table. They made 210 guests very happy that evening, and the fundraiser earned over $28,000. So congratulations, everyone.
Anyone else? Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Hanover Bentinck and Brant Agricultural Society met last week for their quarterly board meeting. Certainly, it's a tricky time in the harness racing industry. We are aware that the Rideau Carleton Raceway has ceased operations as of April, and Hanover Raceway has received one fewer race date for this year. And so in negotiations back and forth with Ontario Racing, it was felt that this was a success to only be down one date. We know that other tracks are experiencing more significant difficulties. The first race date will be on June the 6th with Dream of Glory on August the 1st. But I do wonder, I'll put some thoughts together about whether there's a position for the town of Hanover to support the Agricultural Society and in their advocacy to ensure that racing stays viable in Hanover.
I have mine on. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Councillor Hudson?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to send a big shout out to Elephant Thoughts for the two excellent days that they put together for both the volunteer appreciation and also for their soft opening on the Thursday. It was great to hear a lot of background information about their particular organization that I was not aware of, and to be able to pass on to our community members, and just the sheer excitement of some of the people that were taking part in the 10 to 12 week courses, and how excited they were to share their achievements and accomplishments. It was a really warming situation that we were in. So it was great to see that.
Very good. And I will ask staff, Sherry.
If you see or the residents see me typing, you'll note that we have council highlights in the newspaper following council meetings, and that's new for us. So hopefully our reading public is enjoying that. But to be efficient with our time, I'm trying to take notes during the meeting that I then forward to our communications person who turns that into the council highlights. So that's one thing. Watch for those in the newspaper. And then secondly, just our second annual Community Connects is being held on Wednesday, April 29th. So that's almost 10 days from now, next week at 5:30 p.m. in the Saugeen Room. And that is an opportunity that council members and senior management team members will be present. And our theme this year is role responsibilities. So we're going to highlight the role responsibilities with municipal, regional, provincial, federal government. And council will be providing some thoughts on governance and their role with that. So we look forward to seeing our residents on Wednesday, April 29th at 5:30 p.m.
Very good. Okay, item 16, upcoming committee meetings. Are there any dates on this agenda that need changing? Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, the Saugeen Mobility meeting will be Friday, June 4th now instead of May 8th. And this is to accommodate the broader transit review committee and the information that's coming in and trying to line up our times that we can receive that information.
Very good. Anyone else? Councillor Cable?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would just note that the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Advisory Committee is having a special meeting tomorrow evening to discuss the East End Trail Loop.
At 6 p.m. Okay, good. Oh,
5:45.
okay, 5:45. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So we're on to important dates and announcements. Our next regular council meeting is Monday, May the 4th at 4 p.m. And of course, it's been mentioned about Earth Day on Wednesday, April 22nd, 6 p.m. at the P&H Center. There's pizza and refreshments and stuff. So, and candidate information session. This is for the 2026 municipal and school board election. It is on Wednesday, April 22nd, same evening from 6 till 9 p.m. in the Grey County Chambers in Owen Sound, or you can attend virtually. The National Day of Mourning is on Tuesday, April 28th. It is at 11 a.m. in Heritage Square, and I'm pleased to say this will be the first time I will be able to attend it. I've always had a meeting on that day, whether it was a Friday or a Tuesday. So, and then it's been mentioned, Community Connects, again, Wednesday, April 29th at 5:30. And that's it for the important dates and announcements. Councillor Hudson?
Do we have a finance committee meeting on the 27th?
Yes, at 4 p.m. Yes. Okay, we do not have a closed meeting, so we have our confirmation of proceedings bylaw. I need a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Hudson and Councillor Cable. I'll ask the clerk for the intent of the bylaw.
Bylaw number 3394-26 is a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the April 20th, 2026 regular council meeting.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Hudson, seconded by Councillor Cable, that bylaw number 3394-26 be introduced and it be taken as read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and inserted in the bylaw book. All in favor? That is carried. I still, every time I read that, I think we used to have a mover and seconder for each time, for the first time, for the second time, and the third time, every time. So this is much better. We have one final motion, and that is to adjourn at 5:30. Councillor Sacco, Councillor Cable, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you.